What's up, guys? Alright, we got our lighting done. It's not really in the way, set. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today's video is gonna be short and sweet, and a quick disclaimer. If you hear that noise, so you may hear it back and forth. I think they're working on it, I'm not too sure what's going on. But today's video is gonna be short and sweet. We're gonna be talking about our Memphis Shades Road Warrior fairing. I get a lot of questions about wind buffeting regarding the Memphis Shades, that they felt they may have gone too short or too tall, and trying to address that issue. But I figured with as much as I get it, it's time to make a video. Some people may get more wind buffeting than others, and that's gonna relate to, yes, your windshield, as well as possibly your helmet combination that you're pairing with your windshield. The height does play a little bit in that as well, but we're gonna be covering that question that I get is how do you remedy that? With that being said, this is going to be specifically for your Memphis Shades Road Warrior fairings. That is the one that we have on our lowrider that we've run for now about 65,000 miles and is still going strong. We even have one for the Sporty that's on there. It doesn't get much love, but we will be doing a video on that relatively soon. And so the only tools that you're gonna be needing for this is going to be your Memphis Shades Road Warrior fairing and the Allen key that comes with your Road Warrior fairing. Here is the fairing from the Sportster. This is the Road Warrior in 11 inches with the vented shield on it. Now, whenever I put my fairing on, instead of having it to where it has a little bit of a cant back, as I see a lot of these bikes, again, it's gonna be preference on how you like it. It may be aesthetics that you do like it to have a little bit back. I prefer to have mine more of a vertical mount. I have seen a couple riders where they cant it back just a little bit. Again, it's gonna be rider preference, but just know that you do have the ability to position your fairing back and forth, as well as adjusting the height of your fairing, but keep in mind that you can only adjust it vertically up and down on your clamps. Those are the ones that go on your fork tubes, that you're gonna only be allowed so much because of the headlight. And this is where that trick comes to play, where first I'll suggest moving your fairing back and forth in relation to how it sits to your bar. So the first thing that I suggest doing is to push your fairing forward, and it being more vertical, I feel that it hits the wind and obstructs it a lot more violently, a little bit more of an abrupt stop, that it has to come back, rebound, and go up. So I'm not sure if this is scientifically sound at all, but this is just what I think in my head, that I think that gives you just a little bit more of clearance for wind buffeting than if it were all the way back, where it just kind of glides into your windshield and goes into your helmet, versus it being more vertical that it has to violently hit it, come up. What I'll do, the way I usually mount my fairings, even on the Sportster, is I'll push it as far forward as I can. So you have two of your clamps, which is on your fork tubes. You have your lower and you have your upper on both sides of your fork tube. Then you have the brackets that mount to your fairing. This is the clamps I was referring to. These are the grommets I was referring to. These are the brackets that the trigger lock mounts into. This is 39mm, these are not 49. And the way mine are mounted is the upper clamps on the brackets end up pushing the grommet to its farthest point forward, and the bottom one sits relatively in the middle, if not pushed farther back. Again, what that means is that instead of it being canted back like that you are more of a vertical position, where in order to achieve that, what it looks like is that you're gonna have your grommets on top closer to the front of the clamp, and the grommets on the bottom are closer to the rear. And that's the first trick. Go ahead and try that. Sometimes that helps just enough that you don't need to go to step 2. Now, what is step 2? Troubleshoot for the troubleshoot. Essentially what we're gonna be doing is loosening the clamps and positioning them higher. Essentially what we're gonna be doing. The note that I mentioned when people have wind buffeting issues is you're gonna wanna try to move your fairing fork clamps up, higher. So as an example, a lot of the people when they have their fairing, they have their clamps mounted where their headlight fits inside the headlight cowl of the fairing, and their fairing sits on it, but for some reason they're getting a little bit of wind buffeting. So what I meant by moving your clamps, this is the clamps I was referring to, is what you're gonna do is loosen your clamps, and you're just gonna be lifting them up. I have my little marker there, and play with how much you need. I ended up just marking them here so that way I didn't forget where I like them. And then you just tighten your bolts here on the clamp and put your fairing back on. So you clear the headlight. Make sure that your grommets line up into your locking brackets. Clamp them down, you're good to go. As a recap, most fairings tend to be pushed back. What you can do, the first troubleshoot, is just bring it forward, tighten your grommets down just enough. They just need to be a little snug, nothing overly tight, and that should fix it. And if not, what you can do is raise your fork clamps higher up on your fork tubes, but just remember that your headlight will only clear so much. So just double check that it's not the bottom of the cowl, because with vibrations, it will cause it to crack. And that's it. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. If you found any value from it, hit that subscribe button. While you're there, bump on over and hit that bell to be notified of any future videos when they drop, as soon as they drop. And again, I hope this helped out those who have any wind buffeting issues with your fairing. I hope that it prevents you from having to reorder a different height and it solves the problem. Until next time, appreciate y'all. Ride safe. Cheers.